Welcome to the whitest house. Slave souls haunt the halls when the light is out. They suck the blood of the poor and the wipe their mouth. The last gas of a world that is dying out. Welcome to the whitest house, where every room is a tomb that they lie about. Where you can put your filthy feet on the right couch, and for the right amount, you can Welcome to This Week in White Supremacy. Would you hide in the corner? Welcome to This Week in White Supremacy. I'm your host, or one of your hosts, Jasiri X. I'm co-founder CEO of One Hood Media. To my right or left, I don't know how you're looking at it, repping One Hood in our One Hood hoodie. You want to introduce yourself, Miracle?
Hey, what's up? It's your girl, Miracle. You know, just all things controversial. I'm happy to be here. You know, hope I don't here so I don't get fined. And
yes, Miracle is conspiracy girl. Is that your new title?
Yes. The Denver airport will send you to hell.
Yes. Wait a minute. I don't know that that's what is that. I mean, I guess that's white supremacy. If they built it and it goes to hell, that is kind of crazy on white people's part. Like, come on, white folks. Like, what y'all doing? What is y'all doing in Denver? Like, just let us fly into Denver and fly out. Trouble in LS. You know what I'm saying?
Trouble in LS. You know what I'm saying? Never lose sight. You feel me? I never liked Satan, but I did kind of like empathize with bro, because I know it's kind of hard to be kicked out of heaven like that. You know what I'm saying? But like we ain't gotta go there. We ain't gotta go there.
Yeah, come on, bro. Like, don't mess up the world just because you lost. You know, it's the person that want to kicked out the party, then want to shoot it up. Like, don't mess the party up for me because you got kicked out. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, that was you. That was you, Farouk. You the dude got kicked out the party and then want to come outside and spray it up. You know what I'm saying?
Man,
like, now we all if you go home, everybody got to go home. That was your philosophy.
Listen. Me, Sean, and Saigon, the only niggas that ever shoot up the club. Man. I used to shoot off stage. Fuck it.
Yeah, no, that's not. Thankfully, brother, you've changed your
allegedly.
ways.
Yeah,
allegedly. And you're a hardworking advocate for the people now. Correct.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. I be on like gun control podcasts and all of that, man. I be out here.
That's what I'm saying, bro. Yeah, you should be. You should be, man. You know what I'm saying?
Here,
like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? What's that?
Wow. That's anti-black. That's anti-black, whatever that is, man. That's how we start on white supremacy. Right there.
Oh, I thought that was coming from.
I think it was me.
Oh, okay.
It might have been. Was it a motorcycle or something?
I thought that was Satan. I thought Satan was coming to get us.
That did sound like the beast.
The devil came out of Denver's airport to shut us down. So anyway, we did want to, the big news in white supremacy. And whenever there's like big white supremacy news, I do get kind of excited. But we are a few days removed from, Oprah Winfrey's bombshell interview with Meghan Markle. And what's her title? The Duchess of what? What is she?
She has no title. They took it back.
No, they stripped her of a title. Once they vacated the royal, they vacated the royal duties, so they don't have titles anymore.
Which is homegirl Meghan, Meghan and Harry. Now they were something, and now they're not. But so did you all watch the interview? Did you even have to watch?
I was watching WandaVision.
But all right, don't watch the biggest interview about white supremacy that happened this year.
Listen, I still listen.
The queen, podcast to do.
I'm still a citizen of the crown. You get me? Like, I still actually have the queen. So you know what I mean? That's just regular.
Well, I guess. Did you need to watch the interview to know that there was like white supremacy? So I guess there's two things. One, of course, is wild. It's wild as hell to like come to a woman who just had a baby and kind of say, oh, by the way, your son ain't gonna have no title. Your son ain't gonna have no protection. Like, why didn't name that baby Archie though? That's what I want to know. Why didn't they name that you Archie? Like that should have been the real question. Oprah should have been like, "The fuck is wrong with you niggas?" What was they gonna name Lamont? They already was mad. They already was mad, Farouk. That he might.
That he was going to be a little dark.
I didn't know if it was like West Indian Archie. I didn't know if that's where they was going. See you next week.
I can't stand you.
For those that might not know, West Indian Archie was a mentor to Malcolm X. Oh, Malcolm the gangster, not Malcolm the Muslim. West Indian
Malcolm
Archie.
Little. Malcolm Little. Detroit Red.
Every time I see that child from now to the end of time, he's West Indian Archie.
Listen, have you seen the memes of the Prince with the gun fingers and all of that? Like, he's a Batman, isn't it?
That was the problem. That the Queen thought he was gonna be West Indian Archie. Like they was looking at Megan's mom, and that was the thing.
I got tears in my eyes.
Megan is like, I got tears too. Megan is like, you know what I'm saying? Megan could kind of pass, but then when you see Megan's mom, you know, they was like, yo, these genes could be kind of strong, you know what I'm saying? And obviously, they was discussing how dark the baby could be and what that could mean for the future of the crown or whatever. So yeah, they definitely thought it was West Indian Archie. So I'm gonna come to you, Miracle. Like what? Like because people also talked about. Let me say, you know, they talked about the significance that, you know, it was a black man, Tyler Perry. Who knew? Who knew Tyler Perry was like saving royalty? I didn't. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, Tyler, like, could I have a room? I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I'm good though, but that Tyler Perry, a black man, you know what I'm saying, like came to their aid and offered security in his house. That, you know, Oprah Winfrey, a black woman. Of course, Tyler Perry and Oprah also multimillionaires and have a level of access, but Oprah, a black woman, gave them their platform to share their story. So what was your take on it, Miracle? Is it just as simple as she should have known what she was getting? Because a lot of people said that, like, you know, like marrying into British monarchy, did you think they was going to accept you, or is it that simple, or what are we looking at, Miracle?
I mean, one of my professors once told me there's a saying, when you're black, you can get too high, but you can't get too close. And so I think with Megan, it was a situation where it was like, it's okay, you can be famous. It's okay, you can rep the crown, but living on the ground, birthing the heirs, no, that's not what's going to happen. And I think that for a lot of folks, you know, it was a very complex time to watch the interview because, yes, we're talking about millionaires and billionaires and all these people like fighting over millions. But like racism has no respecter of your bank account. Whether you're LeBron James or Meghan Markle, you're still subjected to anti-blackness. And whether it's because people thought your skin was going to be too dark or that you weren't good enough because you were black, this impacts us all. So I know a lot of times people are like, why do you care about like white supremacy when it's the royals? But it's like, if you're a light-skinned, almost white passing, and people are still doing this one-drop rule, what does it mean for everyday, regular, dark-skinned, black and brown folks who are trying to navigate these worlds? Also, think about Britain is still one of the biggest imperial nations that we have, right? You know, you got Britain, the US, and
OG
China.
colonizer, yes.
You know, and so like when we're talking about systemic issues, this is how it's passed down. It's the firm, the association. First, I thought I was like watching Scandal. Like I was like, is this like V613? We're talking about the firm, the association, the institution, the higher ups.
Yeah, man.
I was just like, how many names are we going to use? But if we're looking at a system of supremacy, that was it. You know, play the game you won, and you still got hurt.
I mean, to me, it's like, I don't know why anybody was even surprised. Like, you know, the crown literally set the standard for white supremacy. You know, they went and subjugated the entire world of black and brown people. So I don't know why anybody thought this would be any different in 2021. You get me? So it was just like, that's why I didn't really care to watch it, because I was just like, you know, the only people that were surprised about this were the English press. Right. That was it. Well,
I don't know if anybody was necessarily like surprised, but I think people, you know, a lot of people said, I think it's Prince Edward who was hanging with Harvey Weinstein, whatever the dude that was hanging with Harvey. It was they protected this dude, you know what I'm saying? But like just kind of like what Miracle said, the one drop rules, like that little drop, you know, and you know, I don't want to, this ain't gonna be light skin crime because I'm light too, but it was like that made her black. It was like that was just enough for the whole press to like turn. I mean, when and I think you sent us Trouble, some of those headlines where like when Kate Middleton was rubbing her belly, it was like, oh, look at beautiful Kate rubbing her belly. And then Meghan Markle was rubbing her belly. It's like this demon woman is trying to destroy the baby. It was so like clear that like the press was like against this woman from the gate. And I think it is. So I don't think people were surprised, but I think the surprise might have been Farouk that it got out, and that like Harry and Meghan both said, like specifically Harry saying like, yo, let's bounce. You know what I'm saying? I mean, because there was other issues about her wanting mental health access and them saying, yo, you can't get mental health access. That's going to look bad on us. Nigga, my man is up here with it wasn't Harvey Weinstein. What's the dude? Epstein. My man's up here with Epstein. Like, but she can't get mental health? Like, that was crazy.
Here's the real surprise. The real surprise is that Prince Philip is still alive. That nigga look like melted ice cream. Like I be wanting, I'm sure like I'm sure all of England right now probably got bets like who's going to die first, Keith Richards or Prince Philip.
Yeah, they look, and that was one of the memes that went around where it showed like pictures of all of them, and they was like, but they worried about what this child gonna look like. They look terrible, but it did seem like it was like it's weird because it did, like white British press kind of came to it, and particularly like Piers. I mean, like Piers Morgan literally like quit his job, like he would rather quit his job than like actually acknowledge like there's racism inside of Buckingham Palace or the Royal Institute. Like we already, like you said, we know they racist. Come on, you have a history that says if your book says number white, your book should be called the Book of Whites, White Supremacy Pages, whatever. Like we know this. But like for him, it was too hard for him to even just admit, like he couldn't even admit that they were racist, and he just quit his job. Like that's wild to me.
Because he got ghosted. Because Meghan Markle bounced on that man. Yo, listen, that's the thing. It's like, bro, it's like, there's a meme that was going around. It was like, yo, look in the mirror before you slide into somebody's DMs. Like, bro, you really thought you had a chance with Meghan Markle? Like, come on, man. You know what I mean? Like, Piers, my brother.
I don't even know what bro look like, but like just judging off his actions, I can already tell like he don't look too well.
Piers Morgan look like the nigga you paid to take you on paddle boat rides. You get me? Like that nigga look like he feed pigeons at night.
Nah.
You know what I mean? He looked like a professional miniature golfer, man. Like, man, you know what I'm saying? Like,
and Piers Morgan did like tell this story, like, oh, I was talking to her and I took her out, and then I paid for the cab that took her to the party where she met Prince Harry, and then she never called me again. But it's like, yo,
why would you flex about that, bro? Like, just shut up.
Well, I mean, it was an older interview, but it showed why he was mad. You were saying,
it showed like, yo, he was upset that she just bounced on him and she met the prince. It's like, my nigga, he's a prince.
He was angry. Like, it was like, was he mad at like Meghan, or was he mad that he had to listen to black people like explain like racism and stuff? Because whoever that black woman who was the professor that was on the show, that was just, and she wasn't going to be like talked down to. She wasn't going to be talked over. And it was like almost like he was mad he had to entertain these black people and their opinions.
No.
You had something you were saying, Miracle? Oh. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Trouble.
I was just going to say something that I just learned about trauma is that like when similar emotions come up, they kind of bleed into that trauma that you haven't healed from. So I feel like he still hasn't healed from the Meghan Markle thing. And now he's mad that he has to answer to black people. And it kind of just bled together. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
He just got tired of it.
He was big mad.
Big mad. Miracle, you had something to say?
So we've always talked about misogynoir and the fact that like people always talk about how they can't be racist because they have black kids or because they have black partners. Here is this man who's so upset that this black woman dares date somebody else that he has spent the bulk of the past 4 years disparaging her almost every single day. Almost every single day of his professional career, calling her out, tweeting about her, all because she didn't want to date him. And then all of these other media organizations followed in his lead. So this is what we're talking about, the white power, the white privilege, the systemic whiteness of it all. Like, here's this Black woman just trying to be married and raise a family, and she has not even an ex. Like, can we just talk about like how fragile whiteness
This
is?
nigga got a cup of coffee.
A person, it's not because she didn't even date this man. Like, she didn't even go out with him. They weren't even booed up.
Bro, he sound like a Pisces, bro. I gotta see who this man is.
No, I don't know.
It's some high school shit. It's like, you know, when you get curved and you start lying and say you fucked a girl or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, it's high school shit. Like,
shit.
It really, if Piers Morgan wasn't in the media, you could press charges against it for some shit like this.
Absolutely. But I think it's actually worse. I think that's what Miracle was saying, because he has this platform.
Right.
He actually, not only is he like harassing this woman who, just like you said, like, bro, whatever y'all did, it was one time, like one time. You know what I'm saying? Like, and y'all didn't even do nothing. It's not like she went back to your house, bro. She actually went to the next party. Hey, yo, drop me off.
She left you. Like,
I'm trying to
the fact that a woman has autonomy over her body and her decision-making capabilities irritates and brings out the ire in some men. Like, she didn't. Like, so what? Y'all went on a date. You bought her a $5 cup of coffee, and she was supposed to be your next. Like, sir, you are married. Like, you have a whole
now
life.
it's starting to make more sense, Alyssa. He's actually an Aries, big Aries energy. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know. I don't really know any Aries. I can't really.
So, Miracle,
bro, hotheads.
What about the idea that like because I think, like, you know, we saw you know, I remember when the wedding happened, and it was like one of the moments on Twitter where everybody's tweeting about it, and her mom and how she looked, and people were kind of excited. And of course, other people were saying like, yo, she's marrying into this white supremacist structure. Like, people were pushing back on that. But I think it might have been Amanda, the poet. Is it Gordon? What's Amanda's? Who talked about, actually, like, this was an opportunity, Gorman, right? Like, this was an opportunity for the British royalty to, like, actually, like, we know you've been racist, but like, you had an opportunity, like to show that, like, no, you embrace, whether it's diversity or embrace humanity or whatever. Do you think that was something that they like passed on, or was it, you know, what do you think of that piece, or that question? Like, they had this opportunity to actually embrace this Black woman and kind of show that they moved into the 21st century, but they absolutely rejected that.
They fumbled the bag, you know, as they said, they messed up, because at the end of the day, all of these systems and institutions are based on white supremacy and capitalism, right? At some point, these systems are going to have to either adapt to the times or be crushed and abolished. So they really could have said, you know what? We see what's going on. We see how people feel, all this type of stuff. So now we're going to change. Now we're going to do something different. Now we're going to do reparations. Now we're going to hire and collaborate more with the countries, return back people. They messed up. And now they're a laughing stock, and people see them for who they really are. And at the end of the day, I also want to point out that a lot of people keep saying that she's a princess. She should have dealt with this. The idea that like Black and brown people have to do this American dream tax is bullshit. The idea that we have to put up with racism and bigotry and microaggressions because we're supposed to be thankful we're in the room, or thankful and happy to be there, is no, we deserve the rights and respects and the autonomy of every other person. And a lot of times you see people pushing back because you're saying Megan should do that, but that's also what you're saying is the Black kid on the street should deal with the cops calling him because he should be happy. You know, he's out there. You know, Trayvon Martin should have just submitted to George Zimmerman because he should have been lucky to be in the neighborhood. It's all of these systems come into play. So when people are pushing back, it's not because we're in love with the royals or we're in love with this millionaire mindset. It's because we know these same attitudes and behaviors you give to everyday working class Black and brown folks.
Absolutely. And that's really the attitude that people have. It's like, you should just accept police brutality because you're not in Africa. Like that's the cost of like living in America. Like, you have the benefit of living in America. You have the benefit of being an American, quote unquote. And so accept some of the police brutality, accept that racism, like suck that stuff up, pull yourself up. And so that is actually the case. And a lot of times, like you said, when we see some of these like famous people and athletes that are subjected to racism, a lot of people say, well, you're rich, like suck it up, you rich, as if wealth should mean that you're that you should be dehumanized in any type of way. And just like you said, like nobody else is accepting that, and we shouldn't accept it. And you know, Miracle, I mean, like, let's say I just want to have a slice of pizza. You know what I'm saying? Like, should I have to get it from somebody?
Deep dish.
Should I have to worry about the pizza maker like not being able to stop saying the N-word for 2 years, Miracle? I mean, should I have to
take some 20 months to unlearn it?
If you can't get pizza,
it's interesting because it takes 20 months to digest Papa John's pizza.
That's upsetting me and my homegirls. Like, where can we go?
The N-word is for nasty. That's what he meant.
For those that didn't see the interview, Papa John, you know, the former CEO, like
the
he was
Papa.
Papa.
I'm on fire tonight. I'm on fire. I don't shoot the miss. I don't shoot the miss, man. You get me?
He like got kicked out of his own company. Like, it has his name. Imagine being so like you choose racism over a company with your own name on it. Like it's yours. It's named after you.
Hold on. When you phone Papa John's Pizza, could you get extra nigga on? Like, hey, listen, can I order the slice for extra nigga? I need that 20 months of nigga version, please.
Oh shit.
Put some more nigga on that.
Papa John did an interview with OAN, one of these right-wing conspiracist things, and he talked about his struggles to not say the N-word. So we're going to play that clip for you real quick. This is Papa John. You can take that shirt off, nigga. You don't even work there no more.
You start to see these headlines coming out and smearing your good name. How did you feel at the time when you were seeing these headlines?
State of shock. Unbelievable. I couldn't understand it. I mean, again, you have a public board that paints its chairman complicit, passive, or active. They paint the founder as a racist. They know he's not a racist. It's just unbelievable.
It's hard to know that if you say the N-word.
Going, how did they do this? And we've had 3 goals for the last 20 months to get rid of this N-word in my vocabulary and everything else because it's just not true.
I imagine it's like, does this nigga have a coach? I imagine him like hiring a coach.
First off, why he look like Ray Liotta in Goodfellas? That's the one question.
He look like.
What would you say?
He just put $1 in a jar every time he says the N-word. That's what I want to know. You know how like
he has the N jar
to get his mouth fresh out with soap.
But you know, first off, he looked like Ray Liotta from Goodfellas, right? When he's running from the police, the nigga looked coked out. Like that. He looked coked out. Number one,
he looked bad.
Number two,
he's stressed, bro.
Number two, I mean, I would be too.
It's been 20 months, bro.
His surname
20
is
intense months.
His surname is Schnatter, right? I don't even know where to go with that. That sounds like Nagger, I guess. He just might be just, Lord. Third, he got a heavy Southern drawl, so I wouldn't expect this nigga to say nothing but nigga more than me. And fourth, I'm not trusting no Southern nigga cooking pizza. It's just not.
It's weird.
If he had like some greens or something,
First of all,
I'm like, okay.
Be good. First of all, listen.
It never was good.
The South got First of all, a few years ago, Papa John's was good, and then whatever happened, the racism.
Too many niggas started
to the forefront.
Too many niggas started cooking it. That's what happened. That's what Papa John said.
I will say, I appreciate that he is talking about it's been a struggle for him not to say the N-word for 20 months. I would give him props. For the white
it would be a struggle for me. Probably not for 20 months, but it would be kind of difficult, you know?
But Go ahead, Miracle.
People can't stop being racist. And here's the thing. People think that like they can just say an apology and the racism stops and the biases stop and the bigotry. It's a process. It takes time to unlearn shit. And I appreciate the fact that he's like, I am struggling. He's more upset that he was abandoned by his board, but I appreciate that he's like, I can't stop saying nigga. Like it's like trying bigots. Like he just can't stop. I appreciate that. Like, okay, yes, you're trying. You're not there yet, but thank you for being honest. Right? But also, why is he still wearing those shirts? That's
okay. So
like,
we need to talk
about your. I wonder if there's like anymore. Like, why are you?
Hey.
Confused.
I wonder if there's a nicotine patch for him. We just slap that shit on. He just sucks.
Oh.
But here's what's wild. Here's the wildest shit. He's saying, I can't stop saying nigga. Meanwhile, Shaq, the biggest nigga he's probably ever seen, is in the boardroom in his place. If that's not irony, if that's not,
I mean, it
bro,
was,
you know what? Papa John
every time
might
you seen him, he probably like, look at this big ass nigga. I mean, it's probably on his mind every time he saw Sack. Like, this is a big ass nigga.
Wait
Like,
a minute. So y'all got me thinking, right? Papa John just might be depressed because he's suffering from all this negativity, bro. Like it really gets to you. You know what I'm saying?
I just want to know, like, who do you hire?
No. People can't even.
This is what he needs, bro.
From niggas to gods. Send that to Papa John. Hey, Sam. Who did he hire? That's what I just want to know. Who did he hire to like help him to eliminate? Like he said, from his dictionary. What, you got a nigga dictionary like on the table? Like what, you gotta like you gotta check his mail. Let me make sure he didn't get no letters with nigga in it. I can't like that is wild. Listen. But he was honest. He kept it a buck, like we said. He talked about his 2-year struggle not to say the word. And I mean, you know, I don't know, man.
Is he going through nigga withdrawals? Like I'm just
he definitely is. He like, definitely for sure.
He probably got that. He probably got the Bobby Brown jaw. Like,
no, he got a nigga addiction.
That means two things.
That's funny.
Yeah,
I bet you the next Papa John flavor of the month he put eggplant on it. He gonna sell it with the eggplant emojis.
That's it. This is the last episode.
The BBC slice.
Let us move on, Farouk. Let us move on. So where are we going? You also had.
I don't know.
It was a lot. It was a lot of. You know, we had the NBA player Myers Leonard. You know who?
I'm not touching this one.
Who said some blatant anti-Semitic language. Because I think like what, you know, white supremacy affects all. Myers Leonard was playing his game. He, you know, yelled out, you know, he called somebody an anti-Semitic slur. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, obvious, like, of course he got shut down. He came out today. He apologized. He said he didn't know what the word meant. I don't know why you would use it and not know what it meant. But, you know, what's his name? Julian Edelman had reached out to him, and Julian Edelman, he had reached out to Deshaun Jackson when he made anti-Semitic statements. He reached out to Myers Leonard and said he would help him. But what I thought was interesting about what Julian Edelman said was he actually talked about like that, you know, a lot of times when people are being ignorant, like wanton ignorance is actually harder to shut down than people that are actually being maliciously racist, which I thought was a dope point that he made, because that's what a lot of people say. Like, oh, I didn't know. I'm sorry. I was just being ignorant. And they kind of use that to move on. But it's like, but your ignorance is actually harder to deal with, because then kind of like what you said, like, at least, you know, Papa John's was saying like, yo, I know what it is. I know it's bad. I'm struggling with this. I need help, and I've needed help for 20 months. Most people kind of say, oh, I didn't know that. I'm apologizing and keep moving. It's like, no, you actually have like to educate yourself. You actually have to go through this process, and it probably is going to take longer than 20 months. like to deal with the anti-blackness that or anti-Semitic stuff that folks are dealing with. You know what I'm saying? And so I did like that he pointed that out. And it's like, it's going to take more than just an apology. Folks have to really start educating themselves. Folks have to really start reading. Folks have to start growing. And your reading should start with Black authors. You know what I'm saying? Like, no disrespect to, white fragility, but, your reading should.
When I learn how to read, this is gonna be the first book I read.
Volume 2, though. Volume 2.
Send that directly to Papa John's. Anybody else have any comments about Myers Leonard's anti-Semitism?
What's the dude, the football player who spoke out?
Julian Edelman.
Julian Edelman.
I think props to Julian for giving grace and to like being very consistent with his support for folks. But I think it's very interesting because compare this to Nick Cannon and other folks about how the intent versus impact and the grace that is given to folks who are white and white passing when they make these type of remarks, or people bend over backwards to assume they didn't mean anything by it. But when it's Black folks, whether, us on the show, Mark Lamont Hill, other folks, we're like the worst of the worst. We're just horrible people. And I think it's very interesting who people pick and choose to give grace to. But also, like, who knows all these words? Like, I don't understand. Like, who is teaching these folks all of these words? Now, granted, I'll be playing video games. I don't get the culture of like yelling slurs at people. But I just don't understand
the culture of video games.
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand. Like, I thought it was just
it's like people. I feel like it's really like it's out of a lack of awareness for like people aren't paying attention to the shit that they're hearing, the shit that they're consuming, the people that they're around. It's like, because it's like if he was aware, he would have known not to repeat what he probably heard someone completely anti-Semitic say at one point in his life. You know what I'm saying?
But I mean, did he hear that and say, like, how do you, I think what Miracle is saying is like, how do you hear it and adopt it if you don't know what it is? Did he hear it and think like, wow, that sounds like a cool slur. I'm gonna start calling all of my people that. Like, how do you learn this? And like the fact that, because I'm curious, like the person who he called this to, was that person Jewish? You know what I'm saying? Now, I'm not about to do an investigation, you know what I'm saying? But I'm curious because, like, if that person was Jewish, then you did know what it meant. You know what I'm saying? But I think what Miracle is saying is, where do you learn this stuff? You know what I'm saying? Because remember, this isn't the first athlete. There was a NASCAR driver who got caught saying nigga and then just tried to shut his stream down. But you know what? Nigga, we caught you. And he had to, like, get kicked out or lost all his sponsors. And so I think this is something that happens a lot. But I agree with Miracle in terms of like the grace. This is how white supremacy works, that like white people are given this grace. You know, a white woman get on there, just start crying, and everybody's like, oh, she's crying, you know, let's forgive her. And that's oftentimes what happens when white people are accused of racism. We want to quickly move on. I mean, you know, we dealt with 4 years of Trump saying some of the most racist shit, and it was just literally like explained away and defended on a constant basis. You know what I'm saying? And so we do have to talk about that, like how white supremacy even works when you're racist. Absolutely. You know what I'm saying? You even get more of a pass when you white and racist.
What was that soccer dude who last week was telling Black people to stay out of politics? What was his name?
Zlatan or whatever. I think that was his name. Zlatan.
Oh, here he goes. Zlatan. Yeah, Zlatan. Yeah.
Yeah, it's Zlatan. Yeah, exactly.
Shit. Look at him.
Right.
And this is why people in politics and sports have to talk about things.
Absolutely.
We get to educate people. We use our platforms to build community. But, you know, he's over there just trying to be a model and an asshole. So we just let him do what he does over there.
No, but that's a great point. Is he going to tell Julian Edelman just stick to catching footballs? You know what I'm saying? When Julian Edelman is actually trying to use his platform to educate folks, because that's what you said to LeBron. Like, LeBron is actually out here putting money to help these, you know, archaic voter restriction laws that the Republicans in Georgia are passing to prevent Black people. As basically like too many Black people voted. We lost these races. Therefore, we have to pass laws to prevent people from voting, whether it be mail-in, to make it illegal to give somebody water standing in line to vote, knowing that Black people having to stand in line 4 to 8 hours. But you're not going to hear him tell Julian Edelman just stick to sports. but you want to tell LeBron James to do that, even though LeBron, the work, like this dude built a school in his hometown, state of the art for black people, and he should stick to sports. No, LeBron should do more. You know what I'm saying? To as much as he can, keep putting the pressure on these folks and using your platform for good, LeBron. You know what I'm saying? And that kind of gets into, one of the things I wanted to talk about. I know it's a little bit more serious, but it was this whole idea of like white people not wanting race to be talked about in school. You know what I'm saying? A couple weeks ago, two racists met, Bill Maher and Megyn Kelly. You know what I'm saying? And, there's a whole conversation about Bill Maher and like his casual, liberal racism, you know what I'm saying, and white supremacy that we can get into if we wanted to get deep into that. But they were having this conversation about we don't want our kids to talk about race in school, which is so wild to me because as black people, you have to talk about race to your children, particularly if you're sending your black child into a predominantly white school with white teachers. You have to talk about race because of what they're going to experience from day one. I mean, and this was, we talked about this, and I don't even know if you have this story. Tamia does our chat. Shout out to Tamia, because we talked about this in pre-production. In Little Rock, Arkansas, it was a 5-year-old. A white teacher made a 5-year-old black child go into a toilet and clean up feces with this child's bare hands. Like this happened this week. You know what I'm saying? In I think it was Texas, you had a black middle school student who was like, over a sleepover. They shot him with BB guns, called him racial slurs, and made him drink urine. And like we're recording this during a sleepover in Texas. And so it's wild to me that like you don't want us to have a conversation about race in school, but yet black students over and over and over again are affected by whether it's racist teachers arrested, beaten, criminalized. You had that black girl that was body slammed by that white security guard and lost her consciousness. So we have to deal with this in school, but yet we can't even have a conversation about race, like to even talk about race. It's controversial. That's wild to me. So that was my little rant. I don't know if you all had any comments on that. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead.
I'm sorry. There was a time when we were at Mount Lebanon High School when you were on that panel. And we were talking about this very subject, about how you have to teach race in school, specifically at a younger age. One of the parents said, "My children are too young to learn about race," to which I responded, Tamir Rice wasn't too young to be killed by it. Right. And they ain't have no response to that shit. Well, when you have Tamir Rice, who is 12 years old, for all accounts, like there's no way you can phrase him anything but other than a child who was affected in he was affected and effectively murdered by racism and white supremacy. That 100%. Is the whole reason we have to teach this in primary school ages, because the moment you start teaching there's an us and there's a them as an educator, you're already establishing the building blocks for white supremacy to exist and thrive in the classroom. And when you have even one black child, if you have no black children, you still should be teaching race and just the foundational principles of the golden rule. Even if you don't call it race, just treat everybody how they want, how you would like to be treated. That's a great starting ground right there. Then as you develop, you can get into more complex ideologies and all of those things. But the bottom line is we're in these spaces, and we've been saying this for a very long time, that education is extremely violent to black people, not only for us to send our children into, but to work in, to exist in, and for us to even teach. That's primarily the reason I left education, is because I felt that it was too violent and oppressive of a system for me to participate in and collect a paycheck in while I'm teaching these children, because I felt like I was doing more harm than good. And so for this child and his parents to be subjected and subjugated to these atrocities,
both children,
in the education system, this is going to fuck them up for the rest of their lives. 100%. And this is why you don't have black educators, is because we have this relationship with white supremacist education in the Western format, that we've been tortured for 12 years, 13 years in a school age. Why would we want to go back and participate in that system? The moment we get out of it, that's why you don't see black people represented as teachers. I'm done.
Yeah, a lot of people don't want to go back, and just to touch a little bit more on that situation. You know, it was a panel called "Hate Has No Home Here" that was put on by Repair the World. You know, shout out to Zach Block who organized that. And remember, we got into that conversation in Mount Lebanon about children and race because they actually had a thing that they do every year called Colonial Day, where they would have the children dress up and colonial
Pilgrim
gear.
attire. Yeah.
And it's like, but what about the black children? What are they supposed to dress up as? What are they? You know what I'm saying? And it's like, it's no conversation about where black people were at that time, what was happening to black people. And that was the conversation because it was one white mom who was like, we do Colonial Day here. We need to stop that. You know what I'm saying? But like you said, to do that is to, and to be honest, man, I really feel like, you know, it's part of the reason why you got people storming the Capitol is because you've been taught about you, either you haven't been taught about race or you've been lied to about you as a white person having a level of ownership and supremacy over darker people. You know what I'm saying? And so now when you see darker people voting and darker people accessing power, now you feel like you have a right to like literally go bust down the doors and kill them. You know what I'm saying? Because this is your country and it ain't even your country because you committed genocide on the indigenous original owners of this very land. Like if you were taught that, maybe you would act differently. Are we on the right path, Miracle?
I would also like to point out, trigger warning, that those same kids actually sexually assaulted the kid as well at the sleepover. So when we're talking about educating children, it's because they're not too young to actually be abusers and harm doers. And if we sit there and we have this boys will be boys mindset, we're actually doing more harm. So when they become adults who are predators, who believe that they have a right to people's bodies, then they become sports casters and news anchors who believe they can stalk and harass people for years. It's still this cycle of oppression and violence, and it's all connected. And that's why we not only have to call it out when we see it, but we have to course correct and change the way people are engaging and teach people new things. This is not the culture wars. This is people who are just trying to survive, like in this world without abuse and violence. And I don't understand what the backlash is. Like, do you want these? Like, I wouldn't want my child to be taught by a teacher who's going to make them touch feces without gloves or to be violently harassed and attacked by their classmates. And we've seen that here in Pittsburgh. We've seen people get jumped in bathrooms because there's immigrants. We've seen people call racial slurs. We've seen security guards break people's teeth and choke them out. I'm here at the local school. So this is a pattern of behavior that is ingrained in these educational systems, but yet education is compulsory. So we're forcing our students, our Black and brown children, to be involved in these violent systems. And we're getting mad that Black and brown parents are fighting for more and saying this isn't right. So something has to be done because like in 2021, we really shouldn't be here. Like, to be honest, we should like beyond this. And yet we're still doing these same fights over and over again.
Trouble, did you have a comment?
Yeah, I did want to say something about how like the education system kind of like sets us up for failure, because then it's like when you look at it from him as a human, from that perspective, you have this system who isn't prepared to do anything about what happened. They're just going to say boys will be boys. Now he's looking at the world as like even those who have a sense of authority over me when I leave my parents' house aren't even going to protect me or keep me safe. Right. They're just going to allow these things to happen. So now he's growing up with this like negative self-image, this negative view of, you know, the school system. It's like, of course, he's probably not going to be too turned on by the idea of college, because it's like in like school where they actually tell you what to do. They didn't tell these, you know, white kids not to do the things they did to me. So I'm going to college where it's like you fend for self. It's only going to get worse. You know what I'm saying?
Or just like you said, I mean, obviously, I mean, if he feels a certain type of way about white people for the rest of his life, I mean, he would be justified based on what happened to him. And I don't know if they saying some boys will be boys stuff. I mean, I think you open it up you know, I mean, at that point, you open up to some type of vigilante thing. Like if you can't like protect like that child, you know, I'll never forget, you know, when I worked in school, and I have a similar situation to you, Farouk, but you know, I was actually pushed out of Pittsburgh public schools because of the activism that I was doing in the community. Like my politics, they was like, get rid of this dude, which is kind of wild. But I remember it was one of my students had got like, you know, he was being bullied. And I remember this dude's dad came to the school with his 5 brothers. And this was at Oliver. And his dad, you know, I mean, no disrespect, his dad looked like he just got off the weight. His dad looked like he got out of prison yesterday and spent his first day home just lifting weights. I mean, that's how he looked. And his dad, because his dad had like 20 gold chains on. But anyway, his dad came in and he said, hey, he told the principal, he said, if you can't protect my son, me and my sons will. And it was just that simple, you know what I'm saying? And he was left alone after that day. You know what I'm saying? And because he made it clear, like, we're going to protect them if you can't protect them. You know what I'm saying? And it's just, you know, something that I think we have to begin to think about, particularly as, you know, all of this white supremacist violence continues, you know, as, you know, all these people, I guess, except for the Q shaman and the other white guy are let out. You know what I'm saying? The white guy who had his feet on the desk. I mean, he did have a point. The white guy who put his feet on the desk was not giving bail. And he was like, why am I being kept in when everybody else is getting out? He got a point. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Y'all want to speak on that? You're on mute, Farouk.
Now we're good. There's a psychology to all of this, right? As you look at this, right? This entitlement aspect. This nigga, Pretus. This nigga. This nigga came into the Capitol.
Yes. Put his foot up. Yep.
On the gram. On Instagram.
Did it for the gram. Then remember, he took a letter out of the office. He did that for the gram, held up, here's Nancy Pelosi's mail. People was like, that was a federal offense. He talked back. I think somebody said he might have said he urinated in the office or some crazy thing.
He pissed in the office, right? And then
what is wrong with folks?
And then has the nerve to say, this ain't fair. You're not going to treat me like black people.
Why is he calling himself a shaman, bro? That's not what shaman.
No, this ain't the shaman. This the other nigga. Okay. This the nigga look like Ross Perot. He out here bugging, right? This another melted ice cream sandwich looking motherfucker. You get me, right? What I want to know is why do all these niggas look like they came out the microwave, man? Like someone turned the microwave up on defrost and just let these niggas come out the microwave, bro. Like, man, they look wild.
Anxiety.
But anyway, had the nerve to tell a judge, no, that's not fair. You're not going to treat me like this. The entitlement, the psychology of white supremacy is so deep. Like Jaciria said earlier, like Miracle was touched on earlier, they really feel like all this shit just belongs to them and they can do whatever the fuck they want. I know we throw a lot of big words out here, right? We some loquacious motherfuckers, right? You get me? We know all the words. So let me put this in layman's terms, right? These motherfuckers is crazy.
They're crazy. and then, I mean, but I think on one hand, though, you have, you know, the shaman, the white supremacy shaman, and to even call him a shaman is disrespect. This was a white dude, a white supremacist dude playing dress up. He got nothing to do with indigenous people, their culture, that nothing, zero. He's the
Whole Foods Nazi. That's what he is, man. The Whole Foods Nazi.
But I think at the same time,
I just want to point out that Brooke over there doing reenactments because he just want to show off his shoes and that he was matching.
I wasn't even going there. The LeBron.
He wanted to show his latest Fight Club purchase.
Listen, man, you know, but these niggas, these actually the LeBron 11s. They've been out for a long time. He on his 18th shoe right now. I just keep him in good condition.
I'm sorry, bro.
You just want to respect the drip.
It's okay.
Yeah, but I think, like you said, like, you know, Miracle, like at the same time, he's looking and saying, like, he's looking at Trump, and you have.
But
They
wait,
look like they look like a transformer. It looked like your shoes about to turn. Like
you guys see
turn
what I
it into
did?
a
Oh
car.
shit!
Man, listen, like I came through, with something
Is that what
exclusive.
you do?
All
You
the
know,
green,
like-
the whole green color wheel. He was like,
Is that
"I
what you
got
do?
Come on.
Everyone,
coordinated match."
he had everyone on the color wheel.
Continue with your show.
Well, I was gonna say how Trump hasn't been held accountable, and they found out that one of his appointees was actually not only communicating with the Proud Boys, but one of his appointees was actually at the riot, and this was somebody actually connected to Trump. But so I think my man is saying like it's not fair because they were there for Trump. Trump made the call, and Trump get to go and do his thing, but this dude got to be in jail. So yeah, they some transformer shit.
Listen, what was the guy who was like the man who fought Spider-Man, but he was the green person? That's
The Green
what those shoes
Goblin?
remind me
Oh
of.
wow,
Yes.
he caused. He
That's
said you have some
what-
green goblins
it was
on.
Yeah,
negative.
there's a lot of
I'm just saying,
geometry on there. There's a lot of geometry. You get me?
I would have.
She said some fire was
But
about to
also-
come out the bottom of them bad boys. You was about to
I
fly
mean,
away.
I think it's really funny that like people willingly engage in white supremacy, thinking white supremacy is going to protect them, and white supremacy will dispose of you once it's done with you. And the fact that y'all out in there with rats and roaches, in there with COVID, you got no blankets. Welcome to America. This is what Black and brown people go through in Allegheny County jail every single day. Welcome to the realities.
But
I wasn't done.
I'm
As
sorry.
prison culture says, let this radicalize you. Let this
Yes.
make you aware of what goes on in this country,
Absolutely.
and use that same rage in fight for equity and justice for all people. Because if it's not fair for you, it's not fair for the rest of the people in those cells next to you.
Yeah. And I just wish, like it's almost a shame that we know a lot about these people. Like because their stories are told. You had these two cops that were like the New York Times. They danced, they held Black Lives Matter sign and danced at the Black Lives Matter rally. And then they stormed the Capitol. Like, how did that happen? It happened because these are some white supremacists. You know what I'm saying? It was a lot of cops that was kneeling right after George Floyd and was trying to show solidarity. And then
Look at Buffalo. Those
was
cops kneeled and they busted somebody's head open.
busted his head open. The cops in Pittsburgh was kneeling, the chief, the mayor, everybody kneeling. And then as soon as the protest showed up at your house, now we're wrong, we're bad, we're horrible. I mean, so it's white supremacy. There's no need for these continual like fluff pieces and it's no need for that. Oh, okay, so the Q shaman said he was duped. Is that? Well, I don't know which one is that. Jacob, is that the Ross Perot dude or is that the fake indigenous dude? I don't know which one. But yeah, I mean, he was duped by Trump. Good. You know what I'm saying? So like now maybe, you know what I'm saying? You'll
He's finally awakening.
we need to put him on the Papa John's plan maybe in 20 months.
Papa John's uses real ingredients, real niggas. That's Papa John's. Papa John's, man. They need to get that the shaman together, man. He get some organic pizza. He might not be racist no more. You never know.
That is hilarious.
You never
so we
know.
do have one of the things that we had been forgetting that we had not been doing was our Karen of the week. You know what I'm saying? And we had been, we've been skipping our Karen of the week. That was one of our more popular segments. So we actually do have a Karen of the week for this week. And this was, this was kind of wild. This was, I guess they were calling her like angry Uber girl, but this was somebody that went to an Uber and, disrespected the Uber driver. So we can kind of play the Karen of the week, John, and let's get into our Karen.
What?
What you gonna do? What you my property?
Oh, hell no. Hell no.
The disrespect, bro.
You don't touch my property. You don't buy it. You don't buy it. I bought it. I work hard for it. So
Yeah,
I
I
was-
think like
I'll speed
No,
up
you
and jump
gotta-
out the car, man.
no,
Are you stupid?
you drive towards the
Get out in the
Take a long
Drive
drive
towards
on
the
a
cliff.
short bridge.
drive towards the cliff and jump
Man.
out. No, I mean that is. I think one is, of course, obviously it's Corona, and I guess initially it started with it started with the them not wearing masks. And the Uber driver saying like you got to have a mask on, and then you seen homegirl take her mask off and cough and talk about they had corona, and then ripped his mask off. But you had something a little bit deeper that you wanted to go into with, and so she actually put a live out. The girl, who ripped the dude's mask off, she said, "I'm taking Lyft now." Lyft actually was like, nah. Lyft put a statement out like, nah, we banned you too. We know your name. We banned you as well. But you had something you wanted to go a little bit deeper into, Miracle, about this non-Black woman.
Yes. A couple things. First of all, why do y'all let y'all's non-Black friends say the N-word?
She talking to y'all. She talking to you.
It's embarrassing. Why do y'all do this? Why in the world is she calling another person of color a nigga and assaulting them, tearing their mask off, and trying to commit a felony? Like, girl, but that is an iPhone. That is an automatic felony. Like, why are you doing that?
Where are the parents?
This is the second time you've attacked the Uber driver. You were doing the same shenanigans in Hawaii. Like, who wants?
Oh wow, she got a history of attacking Uber drivers.
She's got a history of attacking Uber drivers. Oh, no. Like, what is wrong? Like, I don't. Bay Area. Like, is it the water? Is it the air? Like, why do y'all keep letting non-Black folks say the N-word? I personally don't understand it. I don't get it. Do you know I have to tell people Farouk is Black before he starts talking? Because I know he's going to say the N-word, and I don't want to fight. So I'm like, y'all, he's Black. Farouk is, yes, Farouk is Black. See, people just learning right now that Farouk is Black. I have to tell them in advance so that the people don't fight me and be like, why is he saying the N-word? We have to have conversations. I have to send emails. So I don't understand why y'all let non-Black people say the N-word and embarrass you on camera, committing a crime.
No.
Like, why would y'all do
now y'all all probably going to jail. You know what I'm saying? Now, and it's like let's see how Black you are.
Crime charge.
Yep.
Getting the ethnic intimidation because y'all out there using slurs while committing crimes.
But let's see how Black you are in jail. But it is funny because I remember getting an email one time and they were like, yo, we want to invite Farouk to this conversation, but is he Black? Are we allowed to invite him to?
It's funny because I've been dealing with this my whole life. You get me? Like, I'm ethnically ambiguous. Yeah, it's very difficult to ethnically intimidate me. So it's like, what word do we want to hit you with?
But you were even saying like when you grew your beard out, people
it was funny
you
because
were more Muslim. Like when your beard was short, people identified you as Black.
People, like when my beard was short, I would get Puerto Rican at the absolute most. You know what I mean? Right. And like they're like, oh man, he Puerto Rican and Dominican or something. He cool. But like the moment I grew my lip hair out, then everybody had to start questioning my Blackness, which is very interesting because Blackness is universal. Our experiences aren't. But you know what I mean? Like Adam Clayton Powell said, we got everything from charcoal to chalk with our people. So, but that's all. I'm not upset.
Which is Afro-Semitic. He is Black.
Yeah.
And people.
No, I was just a little upset.
Oh, okay.
Me? Yeah. No, not you. Not you.
Me?
Not you.
Oh.
No, not you.
That email. But no, I mean, I do. A lot of people will identify. Sometimes people identify me based on what they are. So
Yeah, whatever city I'm in, that's what people just tend to assume that I am.
I remember first time I went to Mexico and people were just running Spanish off at me, and I was like, "Yo, I wish I could respond to you and have a conversation. But I'm Black. Like, I'm sorry." And I remember a lady wrote up to me just right up, no hi, no she said, "What are you?" I was like, I'm black, ma'am. I'm sorry.
My friend in college is Japanese and Black, and somebody did. I was like, "What, is she an animal? Like, what do you mean? What are you? Like, how dare you?"
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Bold like that. People be bold like that. So yes.
You know who wants them to ask? What are they? Yes. It's Danny Lay, your favorite yellow bone. She wants y'all to ask her what she is because she has her 43%.
And when you ask Danny Lay what she is, she's gonna pull that 23andMe out.
Man, listen, she got the screenshot, and she probably got that shit notarized.
It's highlighted. Damn. It's like hot. Look right at the West African part is highlighted. Like, yeah, that is hilarious. So do we have a what is our white page? Is our book of the week, Miracle?
I'm dead.
We wanted to.
Like, hey,
We wanted
15
to
years
lighten
ago,
it up.
From Niggas to Guys was the book. I ain't gonna lie. I ain't gonna front. That
Oh
was my
God,
book.
we got 1 and 2.
Oh, you did too.
Lose our leads.
Woo-wee.
Oh,
my
Jesus. What we're
That is not our book of the
we
week.
have Gabrielle Union. We're going to need more wine. We're celebrating Black parents who love their Black queer children. And this is a really great book that Gabrielle Union wrote. It's about her life story. I'll do a trigger warning because she is a survivor. She does talk about that a little bit. But this is like a very great book. So if you're, and you don't have to be a drinker to like read this book, but it's just like her life story. It's like really, really good. So people, you know, who are struggling right now during COVID or just want to think about what it looks like to survive and persevere, it's a really good book to read. So it came out a couple years ago. We're going to need more wine. It's by Gabrielle Union. It talks about a lot of race, class, gender stuff, but it's like a personal autobiography. So, you know, shout out to her. Shout out to her for, you know, loving her queer children, her queer child, and making all you Ashley Hoteps angry every single day. So this is her book.
Yeah, it is. That's part 3.
This nigga.
That's gonna be the name of your album, your new album. Yo, that would be hard. If you call it your album, that's gonna be the new One Hood project. No, but I think it is
That's okay.
weird miracle that like people get so mad at Gabriel Union and Dwayne Wade or Gabriella
Who?
Union. I'm sorry, I'm terrible.
Grable
Union, Mr. A. But it's just like, yo, if you're like, they have this child is in a healthy environment. This child has everything. Like, if you got like, it's mad children up needing adoption. It's mad children in foster care. Like, if you got a problem with how children are being raised, yo, go help somebody. Boys and Girls Club.
Raise your children, because there's a lot of niggas that don't take care of their children that got a lot to say about Dwayne Wade and Gabrielle Union. Like, listen, I know a couple men on my Facebook that got outed by that by their children's mom. You have a lot to say about someone you don't know raising their children when you ain't been around for 3 birthdays.
See that on Twitter, Miracle, when a woman posted her baby father's number and said, "Hey, yo, can y'all call this dude? He hasn't seen his child in 3 months." And people was texting him and throwing screenshots.
Listen, that is collective. We take the village. We are a collective. You know, sometimes we need a little push. We need tough love. But at the end of the day, you know, when's the last time you read a book with your child? When's the last time you sat with and talked with your child, asked your child how their day was, all this type of stuff? You're worried about what's going on in another household. How about you love your own child? How about you forgive your parents for not letting you express yourself and wear dresses and all this type of stuff, and stop transferring that anger. Heal yourself, right? Get some therapy and move on. Move on.
I feel like they need some self-care. They need that next level self-care. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
They need the vibe check. So just, you know, we're ending out, but we do have Friday. We have Black Light. You know what I'm saying? Featuring, you know, Black Girl Absolute. I'm sorry, featuring, of course, Farouk Al-Saeed. You know, our Black. Of course. West Indian Saeed.
You know.
And we and you know, Black Girl Absolute, you know, Jasmine Green, an amazing visual artist. They're gonna be on Black Light. That's Friday at 6:30. Vibe check. If you're on Clubhouse, check us Monday at 11. Vibe check. We setting a vibe, setting good intentions and positivity for the week. And what's that? Wait, you're muted.
Oh.
That's a children's book?
For y'all Dusties and Ashy. Yes. Read books to your children. These are some books you can read.
Oh, those
you know, some stuff you can do. Read them to your children. You know,
can
be
we read
there
Dr.
for your
Seuss?
Black babies.
Can we read Dr. Seuss books?
Listen, little nigga.
No.
Oh.
There's books for you to read. There's so many books. Spend time with your Black child.
I did.
And then you can worry about somebody else's.
we're closing out, but maybe next week we can talk about, is Jay-Z a good black businessman, or is Jay-Z a sellout to white interests? Maybe we can get into that next week.
Or no, because
did Timberland and Swiss Beats sell out? You know, there's been a conversation around that. So, but until next time, see, that's called a cliffhanger. Oh, I swear that was. I was like, did she pull out some Dr. Seuss? I swear.
Yo, let me tell y'all, the school that they go to, it was Dr. Seuss week, and I was just like, was this on purpose, or we're like y'all making a statement?
Oh,
but it's
we're gonna investigate that. Next Wednesday, we're gonna find out about Dr. Seuss week. You know, Jay-Z and Swiss. Yes, we're gonna get
unless he gets us
that.
canceled.
Yeah, so join us next time on This Week in White Supremacy. We'll see y'all.
You know what I'm saying? Never lose sight.
Welcome to the whitest house. Slave souls haunt the halls when the light is out. They suck the blood of the poor and the wipe their mouth. The last gas of a world that is dying out. Welcome to the whitest house, where every room is a tomb that they lie about. Where you can put your filthy feet on the finest couch, and for the right amount, you can even buy it out.